Hello everyone, it's Marie from Skeletorama again. Welcome back to my channel. How's everybody doing? We're almost done. That means I'm happy. This is the last one in the series 5. I thought at first, being naive, that I would be able to have it in 2, and then partway through I'm like, well, yeah, it'll be 3 parts. Yeah, not so much. But anyway, in this one we get to put all the final finishing touches on it and finish up the doll, and so I'm very excited about that. So hope you guys enjoy it. So the wings have had a chance to dry and crackle on both sides, and let me bring them up. I think this is about as close up as I can get with them still being in focus. I did take some close-up pictures, so maybe I can put one in here. If not, I can edit me going here, out, you know. So I really like the way they came out. And what's really funny to me is, so we've got them here like this, and then we have the other side, it's over here. This is the front sides of them, right? And then this is the back, I think. I can't remember. But so this is also why I leave in mistakes. This is also why I don't stop when I make mistakes, because sometimes mistakes are really cool. And what it did was, and I'm not sure if you can see it, let me kind of try to, it's mostly pronounced on this. You see those cracks that have gold in them? Guess what that was from? That was from that ink that I had put down and went, oh crap, this looks terrible. Because when it reactivated, you know, all of the mica spray stuff, it pulled all that color up to the front. And then the cracks that it left in there, what it's showing behind is that gold, which was heavier and stayed. So you never know, you know? It'll be what it'll be. So we got our wings. So yay, that was a huge part. And like I said, I think they turned out really cool. So now I have a ton of stuff on the desk here. Why? Well, because now we're going to decorate. Okay, so one of the things we probably will want to do, let me get my E6000 out, because whenever I want to hold something really strong, this is my go-to right here. So we should probably look at putting on the wings. Actually, no, we can't, because my other idea. Damn. Okay. See, it's always something gets in the way of something. So let's look at all the components and things that I was looking at. So we have here, this has dried clear around the outside, but you know, we still have some gaps and things in there. So in order to kind of hide it, I mean, the skirt hides most of it in the back, but I was thinking maybe I've got this moss here, so we can maybe put like some moss around the edges of it just to kind of decorate it up, tart it up a little bit, and that'll be cool, maybe on the inside as well. And then we've of course got our books here. So we have some of our other elements. The head, I went ahead and painted the back of it, and I Mod Podged the front of it to kind of protect it, plus it brings it into line with the same finish as what we have here. And then the reason her arms are crossed so much is because of what I want to do with the thing we're going to tie around, but it depends on how we decide on doing it. So we have our thing here. Let's put her like that. Okay, so remember we had our little eye here. Now that our wings, and we'll kind of set them behind her so you can see. There we go. So we've got the wings there. Question is, do we want to use the blue one or do we want to use this one? This one's got kind of like some greens and yellows to it. So we'll see which one looks the best. And I was thinking, okay, well, we can set this in here, right? But that's going to look, even with it being in the escutcheon plate, it looks kind of naked, you know. Here's the other, I'll just drop it wherever. The other one, I think this one actually looks better than this one, so that'll save us some time here. Let me put this away. So when you're decorating, it's very easy to get carried away, so if you can eliminate things and put them away, it'll save you time. I don't do anything quickly, as you all know, so there's that. But I have a bunch of gears and things over here to the side, kind of scoot them in a little bit so you can see, to choose from when I was thinking, okay, I want to put something else in there. So just fine, you can stay over there then. So I had like this clock, but that's kind of too big. This is always an option. This is from Prima It's a Finnebear, and it's the metal heart, and it's already got it like a patina aging on it. That's kind of cool. Generally, I like to have those up and to the side, not quite in the center. And then how do you put the eye on it? You can't. So, and I found this, which could like sit there and then have the eye like sitting here, you know, would be interesting. And then I found this one and I went, oh, there we go. So we've got that little gear thing there. We can put the eye in here, and now all of a sudden it doesn't look quite so weird on there, right? Well, I mean, it's lopsided because of course this is at an angle and I'm at an angle, but I think we're going to go with that. So we'll put this over here in the pile of stuff we're going to use along with the wings. And now we have the matter of what do we want behind her head. Usually I like to have something, you know, it's because it's a Santos doll. It's usually an altar to a saint or something like that. And even though this is obviously not a saint, I do still like the halo type thing versus say a crown or something. So I do have these larger ones. So all three of these are Prima mechanicals for Finnebear, I think. So we have this one here, the one that looks like a little throwing star. So that one's kind of cool. And that sort of echoes this piece that we're putting in the center. And we also have this one, which looks more like a sun, which is also very cool. Also echoes what's in that. And then we have the rusty star. I love these, the barn stars. So this one I think might be a little big though, because it kind of sort of takes everything over. We'll make a final decision once the wings are on though, because the wings could be a game changer. They could make everything, you know, much bigger and make these two look even smaller, if that makes any sense. So we'll set these to the side. And then I know I have the flowers still out here to maybe put between the wings, but then as I was poking around looking for things, I found these. So I got Tim Holtz did a fairly recent release of things, and among them he, instead of having all the different things individually, these packs are kind of mixing a lot of different elements that maybe you normally wouldn't buy because you don't want to buy an entire pack of, say, knobs and things. You just want one or two. So he picks out whatever's the most popular that he sees people using in their artwork, and that's how he decides which ones go in. And I saw this one here, which is kind of like one of those, you know, kind of like your water main or something, you know. And then there's one that looks like a old roller skate key or whatever, you know, you would wind something up, and I thought those would actually look kind of cool back here with the wings. So once we get the wings on and have them say here, you know, then we can put this in the center. This would actually help cover up the wings, and we wouldn't necessarily need the flowers. That's what I was going to use the flowers for. Or it can be the little key, you know, have it maybe off at an angle or something like that. So something to be a bridge between the two wings and kind of make them look cool, I guess. Normal. I don't know. Make it look less like we glued some wings to the back of this thing, right? So we have that part. And then the last part that we want to do for the moment, because of course we have all the books to put everywhere, is this part that we're going to do across the front and on the skirt. So originally I was thinking bring this right here from the back and around and tie it in the front, and then oh, maybe we can dangle something from it, right? So I pulled some stuff out. I got some keys out. Thought that might be kind of cool in the center, but I usually prefer to have something in the center as a centerpiece for that. So that's where these other gears come in. So if we had a gear in the center with this stuff, it'd be kind of cool. And then we would have this spot here where we could hang a key from. Let me move this over here. Okay, I had to pause because I live near an airport, and so planes, constantly planes. If it's not big planes, it's military planes, and it's always planes, so had to stop for the plane. But anyway, so with this, we could use that one, or I think I like this Tim Holtz one here a little bit better. It's a little bit plainer, but it will also be easier to get this stuff into. And then again, we can take and hang a key or whatever we like from the center, or maybe nothing from the center. You know, we'll get to there. But with this one, I think I will have, instead of having it tie in the front, we'll take it and have these kind of looped over like so. And then it'll tie in the back. So the reason I had her arms crossed like that was that I was thinking, okay, I will, you know, how can you do this and still get the wire around and have it nice and tight? And I thought, oh, I can put it on there and get it to where I want it, and then slip it up and off, and then slip it back on and glue it down. But actually, I'm going to take this, put these this way, cut this, and then we will still tie it into like a bow or something in the back. And that will add a little bit of, you know, extra body to this spot here. You know, and it'll go over this, and it'll look kind of cool. So I think that's probably what we will do with it. So let's scoot some of this stuff over. Put all this up here. That's why I brought these little art bin things. These things are so nice for keeping stuff in and organizing things, because I can see it. I just got them, because before I had those, if you watch one of my other videos, I had those in a little box. These have a lid and they fit in my IKEA drawers, and I love them. So, and plus I can have them sitting over here and I can put stuff on them, yay! So I can get it up and out of my way a little bit. So let's do that. And these are some other ones that I had pulled out. So I think maybe we're still going to use a key. So we'll put the keys over here. I was thinking of using like one of these in the front, but you can't curve it very good. If you can curve this, I don't have strong enough stuff to curve it without possibly damaging it. And this, you're really not going to curve this. These are the foundry ones. So these little boxes, especially if you get them on sale, are a really cute, cheap way actually to organize these too. Okay, so get those up there. We'll put your wings up here. All right, so I wanted to use, and of course, yeah, I pick everything up and I lose the damn thing I was going to use. Seriously? Wow. There it is. Dear God. All right, so there's that. So we're going to use this. So we're going to cut this in half. And right about there should work. And again, I have plenty of this, so I'm not worried about that. So as opposed to, say, tying a knot in it, which, you know, can look kind of cheesy, I like to take these and kind of fold it over like this. And I'll put a little bit of glue in there to hold it. And then I'll scrunch it up, and then I take wire. That's why I have some wire out here. And I'll wrap the wire around it. So the wire is holding it. It's not really holding it. It's just looking nice, you know. So we'll do that with this here. And ideally, we'll get this stuff on there, you know, before we tie it on, just to make it easier to get to. So if we decide, yes, we want a key on there, we'll probably at least put a jump ring on there for it, so that we're not fighting with it once it's on there. So let's put these down here. And yes, make sure you have these going the correct direction. There we go. That's better. All right, so there's that. So I'm just going to take Fabri-Tac because it's fabric, and I'll put just a little bitty line of it here. I mean, you don't need much because it's just to kind of hold it down and keep it attached, and the wire will do the same. So it's not going to come undone on you. Okay, get that glued over there. We'll let that, it doesn't take long, just a few seconds for it to dry. So while it dries, this is just a length of wire that I had left over from something I was doing. So I'm going to do it roughly about in half so that we end up with the same amount of wire on each side. Kind of straighten it back out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this, gather it together. Probably the easiest way is to work backwards. And hold your wire here, put your fabric around it, oops, and kind of, yeah, that's the trickiest part, is starting this. And come on, there we go. Because you want it nice and close to the thing there, but you know, you want it far enough away where it doesn't look strange. You can kind of scoot it down once you do that. And keep going around and around. Wire is fun and it looks cool, but man, it's a pain in the tail sometimes. So I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to kind of squish this down, which will also kind of help lock it in place and make it easier to wrap it around. So let's just take this and we're going to kind of squeeze it. And now we should be able to go around a little bit easier. And we don't have to use the whole thing if we don't want to. We'll just kind of keep going until it looks about like we should stop. And then once I'm done wrapping it around, that's when I'll mess with making sure the stuff is going in the right direction, the fabric over here and all that. But all right, that's probably about enough. And as you can see, it's not the tightest, you know, wire wrapping job. I mean, if this were jewelry, obviously this would not work out for me. I wouldn't be able to survive knowing I had made something like this on a piece of jewelry, but for this, it's fine. And again, we're going to take it and kind of squish it down. Which is really hard to do because it's a round wire and flat pliers. There we go. Okay. And then we'll just cut the tail off here on the back. And there we go. So there's one side of it. And it's, again, just like everything else, it's supposed to be looking messy. And so when we put it on here, it's going to go here like this. Okay? And so I will do the other side. And we'll see how the other side looks compared to this, and then I may cut that off and redo it. Who knows? We'll see. So I'll fast forward through that and spare y'all me fighting with this thing. All right, so there we have it. So yes, this side does look much better than this side. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this side and do it again, because luckily I have plenty of wire, so it's not a problem. Okay, so there we have it. I'll bring this up here so you can see. Ta-da! And so, you know, after I cut off the ends, I use the pliers and I go ahead and I push these down because they'll be sticking up and poking out. And it's not like you're going to be running your hand across the back of this because it'll be glued to here, but you also don't want it scratching things up. Okay, so we've got this here, and we'll lay her down. So this will go here like this, and we will glue this on here, and then we can bring these and wrap these around, and we'll glue them, you know, a few places along the way, and then tie them in the back. Make sure we're going to have enough. Probably should have done that first. Yes, we will. Okay, perfect. All right, so since we're going to have some glue drying on things, let's do the front first. So since this is metal, I'm going to get my E6000 and see where this is going to sit on here. Okay, so right about there. And put a nice generous little blob. And then same here because it'll catch that ribbon as well. Okay. So we'll set that there and leave that to dry. And since we have the doll in this position, we will go ahead and do the center one as well. So we're going to use this, same thing, and we will put E6000 on the back of here. And we will sit this in the center here. Okay, we want to center it over the hole in the escutcheon plate, because that's what we're covering. Make sure it's nice and symmetrical. there's that. And then where'd our eyeball go? I'm gonna be smart for this because I could just see what I would do with that and have it stuck to my hand. I'm just gonna put a nice big blob of the E6000 here in the center, and we will sit the eyeball down on it. And then make sure that is centered. Okay, so we will leave this here to dry for a little bit, and I will be back with you guys in just a few. All right, so I straightened some stuff up so we have a little bit more room, and this is now on there nice and strong. So we'll go ahead and bring our ribbons, cloth pieces, whatever it is. We'll bring this around and get this tied on the back. So I think what I'm going to do is do some Fabri-Tac, just kind of along these sides here to keep it up at the top where we want it. And you don't want too much because you don't want it, you know, to soak through and look terrible either. And then that way we can get this so it's going the correct direction. There we go. And I've got it so it's kind of overlapping this piece here. So if you look really close you can tell, but not too much. And then same thing on this side. And we don't want to go all the way to the back because of course we're going to tie it, and that would make it rather difficult to tie. So all right, bring this one around here like so. And then very gently set that down that way. Make sure all these are out of the way. I'm just going to tie it into 2 just regular square knots. I'm not going to try to do a bow because that would probably end badly. Okay, so now we got that tied and that can hang down, and see that's covering this little piece up here where we had the mesh going across it. Okay, so voila, this part here is good. And so the key, I did not put the jump ring on there to hold the key because I'm still not 100% sure that I want to do that. So we'll just hold off on that. We'll fix her little arms. So now we're going to do the other parts that are going to be a pain, which are the wings. So let's see, we'll need to get something. We can probably use some of the books actually. Something so that when we sit the wings on here, it'll be high enough to offer some support to it. Okay, so in theory these 2 little stacks will be high enough to do that. And we also kind of want to look and see which one of these elements. Do we want this one or do we want the key? And I kind of like the bigger one. So we're going to want to leave room for that in the center between the 2. And make sure which ones we want on the front. I think these are the front. It's a bummer because I like this side of this one and this side of this one. But overall, I do like these 2 together the best. So that's what we're going to do. Because this one, I don't know if you can see that, it's almost like it absorbed too much of the crackle stuff in there. You really don't want to try to go put it on after the fact because it will never look right. So it's best to just let it go. So, all right, turn this around and see how do we want them? Do we want them up? Or do we want them out? Probably up a bit. So we'll make this center part kind of in line with the shoulder because we're not going to be able to see it obviously when we're on the back. So if we do that, we're looking at about that much on there. So this one we're definitely going to use the E6000 on. And since we'll have, you know, wiggle room, if we don't make it big enough to put the metal piece in there, we can obviously shift them a little bit. Okay, so here goes the first one. I'm going to line that up here. All right. And since the wings are rather heavy, I may use some painter's tape. And we'll sit this here. If it falls off, it's not a big deal because it's not like the stuff was dry, you know. All right, so I got my painter's tape at the ready. I'll put this about where I want it. I'm just going to very gently put the painter's tape on here because it can still take paper or what have you off. All right, and then we'll do this one. It doesn't take forever for this stuff to dry, but you know, you do want to prop it up just so nothing happens while it's drying, so it doesn't dry weird. There's really no nice way to do it, honestly. Okay, so let's make sure these are going to be even now. And I can see in there, yeah, we can put this underneath it, so we'll actually let these meet in the back. That's my tape. Okay, and so very carefully holding these, let's turn this over, and does that work? Yes. Nope, this one needs to come in just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Put that on there, and then we're going to kind of prop this up. I need something a little bit taller than that. See, how about if I put that there, put this here. There we go. Okay, that looks like it should be okay. Double check again, make sure we're still even. Because I just have a feeling it's not. And what I'll do is I will come back and join you guys. I'm going to kind of hold these for a few minutes versus the painter's tape because I just don't trust that it's not going to take some of that finish off. And that way I can make sure it stays exactly aligned where I want it. So, see you guys in a few. All right, so the wings have, you know, more or less dried on there. They're pretty good. So we're going to do a couple more things because, you know, everything's going to need to dry, need to dry, need to dry. So first we're going to look and see which one we want to use. So this one is actually kind of cool, and see how now it doesn't look quite as big and it pulls in the colors from the wings. So we got that. We still have this one here. This one's looking a little small, but it still looks good. I like how it echoes this centerpiece here. And then we have our ninja throwing star, which looks way too small now. So, you know what, actually I think I'm going to go understated and go with the sun looking one here. And on the back here, so the wings have pretty much dried. They're fairly firm, but I just don't trust them to stay. So I came up with something, as always. And I have my book page, which, wow, that's, let me fix that. There we go. This is from one of my junk journal kits. It's for the Ireland journal. It's papers and postcards and things. This is my Gaelic book page. And let's see, we'll have to fix that again. You'd think, you know, it's 2021. You'd think this crap would have where it would adjust automatically, but no. Why would it do that? So what we're going to do is I tore a strip of the book page with the text on it, and I inked around the edges of it, and I'm going to put it on here. So I'm going to do 2 of them, and I'm going to have them kind of over this and layer it over here. Just because it's a concern. I just don't want those to come flying out. They shouldn't, but yeah, I'm paranoid. So with this, they won't. So I'm going to Mod Podge these ones down. So I will do this one here first. And I'm going to put it on the back of the paper. And make sure it's right side up. That'd be fun. And just kind of place this over it and down. So it's conforming to the shape of the wings, and it'll help hold them in place. So Let's see, pick this up so I can really press that down. There we go. And then I'm going to go over this with the Mod Podge. So we are truly Mod Podging this thing down. And then we're going to do the second piece just right on top of it, just to give it a little bit of extra strength. Kind of a layered look. And you know, we're going to have that other thing on top of here, so that's not a huge deal. As I just get Mod Podge all over my desk. Okay, press that down, and then get the Mod Podge off of that, and then we'll put some more on top of here, and that should really secure these in place. It's just, yeah, I get a little paranoid with this kind of stuff. Okay, so there's that part there, and might as well put that in the splodge that I made of that. And then again, we have our piece that we're going to do for the halo style thing. So E6000 again, and we're going to put it on the back of the head here. A nice thick layer on there. Yeah, I was going to use that for a lid. That was going to work real well. Okay, let's not do that. And so since this does have a front and a back, and this is the back, we're just going to go ahead and put it down this way here. And let's turn it over for just a second, just to make sure we have it lined up the way we want it. And we do. And we're going to put it down, and we're going to walk away and let it dry, and I will be back once again. Okay, so this has had plenty of time to dry here. I was debating painting it, which A, I don't feel like sitting watching something else dry. But B, I didn't want to take a chance of messing anything up. And it actually looks fine there because this is neutral, and it, I didn't want to take a chance of it clashing or anything like that. So we're probably good there. So in the spirit of wanting to watch more things dry, because that's just how I do, I'm going to go ahead and put this on. So the way this goes over these, I've got it going into, you know, between the wings. So it's not flat enough for this, but we're just going to put this down beneath it, because it looks just fine there too. So good old E6000 again, because it's metal. And we're going to just sit this right here, kind of in the center. And we're going to leave that to dry. Now, while we do that, since we have this already here like this, I figured it would probably be a good time to go ahead and put some of the moss around here. So just kind of on the edges where this meets this, kind of to disguise the edges, we can maybe put some flowers and things, sort of decorate it up a bit. So with that, I'm just going to use regular PVA glue, and I'll do a little chunk at a time, and just kind of put, yeah, a decent amount of glue on there. And I think I'll grab my tweezers for this one. It does seem to make this a little bit easier to kind of get it in position and tuck it behind stuff. So get it kind of tucked behind that bar there. Like a bit of ton, just enough to kind of accent it. And so it's nice and easy to do this when this is laying out like this. I say until I try to get that part over there, but we'll get it anyway. Okay, we'll tuck these. We'll worry about any kind of flowers or that sort of decoration when everything's done, but that way, you know, the more things you can have that are going to need drying at the same time, the easier it is. Get like one more little piece right there. All right. So same over here, and then once the back part is dry, you know, we can come around and we'll do the other sides. I don't want to try to do too much of this because it'll have a tendency to try to fall off as parts at least, you know, level. And then the wings, one of the things that I did for that is I did go over it with a little bit of gloss glaze. I'll show you that in just a second, as soon as I'm done getting moss all over the place. So it's this right here. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. It's a Sculpey gloss glaze. It comes in a different tube now. It comes in this. If you're looking for it, it's great for all purpose for all kinds of things, but the crackle texture on there can tend to get a little delicate and will kind of break off a bit sometimes depending on the substrate you put it on. And so I like to put that on there to kind of seal the cracks in where I want them, to keep them from cracking completely and falling apart. So okay, so that should do just a little accent. All right, so what we'll do is, yet again, we'll let this dry, and I will come back to you guys when it's dry and we can turn over and look at the front, and we are almost done, because really all we've got to do now is figure out the books, any other little accents and little final details, and then we should be finished, which will be cool. Right, so looks like this is good. So let's go ahead and turn it over and see how it looks from the front. Yay, so here she is with the wings. I'll get this out of the way. Probably the most irritating thing about doing these is finding something to prop them up on that's the right height. And yeah, this was me getting irritated with this stupid thing. So, but anyways, so now we've got that. Our moss on the back looks good. It's just nice and subtle, so I don't think we really need to do anything to that. So we're going to kind of get the little skirt bits out of here because they kind of fell in while we had it laying that way. And this is our back so far, which I think is, you know, I'm not going to go insane with the decorating like I always do. We'll see. Hopefully I won't. So here we are for the front. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to hit these two sides here, this side and the other side, and put some moss on there. The good news is we can keep going because the moss can just sit there and dry, and then the stuff we're going to do, we need it to be sitting up anyway. So. There we go. So there's the moss, and then we'll decide. You know, I'm torn. I don't think we really need it on the inside, honestly. I think that would be kind of weird. I mean, I can see it on the outside, but on the inside, you may, you know, want to check your library for a mold issue or something if you've got moss growing on your books. Okay, so now, speaking of books, let's dump these guys out here and start figuring out where do we want to put these. So, you know, the little leather-bound ones. I want to put those somewhere fairly prominent because they count cool, and they do open. So you know, we could put it where it's open on something. This one does not. This one does. Can't remember what's in here, but all kinds of fun things. So what I'm thinking of is having some stacks of books in here. Just real simple. Well, just get everything everywhere. All right. These ones they came from like a kit, and they have little pages you kind of accordion fold in there. The only problem with it is they tend to do this alligator mouth business. So if we want to use these, we should probably glue some of the pages shut so that it's a little more flat. So these are kind of, will be towards the end, or maybe they can face towards the back or something. I don't think we need all of these, so I'm probably going to just stick with my more flat ones that have a little more of a finish. Where's my Distress ink? We can also ink those. Give them a little more, take away some of that stark white because I hadn't, you know, I just did them and I threw them in the little bucket thing and forgot about them promptly. So some of the ones that I like the covers a little bit more, I'll put some of the ink on and we can still use those. Okay. So set these guys up this way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, even though, yes, these are cool and they have little pages, I am going to glue some of them shut. Just to kind of get this thing a little more flat. And then we're going to probably want to make the stacks of books and then put them in there instead of try to stack them with glue while in there. That would be an adventure, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's pick which one we want here. I was thinking of having her holding one. So probably this one, because this one is one of my favorites. It kind of came out cool. So I think we will just go ahead and commit to that. Now, should we have her, yeah, we should have her hands this way so she's actually holding it, which means it's going to be more flush to her body. You guys would probably like to see this in a tutorial about how to do this. Wouldn't that be fun? Probably have it a little more flush versus having it kind of, although I do like it out a little bit. Maybe we'll do it out a little bit and then we'll position the arms. There we go. There's a thought. Okay, so for this, again, I think I will grab my E6000 just because I want this to be held really, really firmly, and it's leather. Fabri-Tac would probably work. Don't know that I would trust the PVA glue necessarily, but so I'm going to have it leaning this way, which means it's going to touch here and it's going to touch here, but that's probably about it. So that's the only place I'm going to put the glue. So otherwise, you know, we'll have a bunch of glue that you can see, and we don't want that. So I'll put this kind of at the bottom of this, and sit this in here. Okay, so we're going to have this kind of, just kind of leaning a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to sit this here off to the side. We'll let that work on drying while the other stuff dries, while we figure out our stacks of books. So you want to have them have a lot of different you know, sizes and colors and things for variety. And you want to start kind of with the largest ones on the bottom and work your way up to the smaller ones. These ones, I think what we'll do is have these separate. So maybe this one here, I'll kind of force this open a little bit. I should probably put some Distress ink on the inside of those because that's really super white there where I glued it in. So let me get that kind of toned down a little bit. I'll do that to the other one, and I'll fast forward this for a second and I'll be right back to you. So now of the two of these, I think I like the cover of this one the most. So we'll just have this one kind of sitting open, and this is the one we'll sort of pick a spot and we'll kind of bend these back a little bit, kind of curl them back so that they'll lay a little more flat. And then what we can do is have these kind of towards the front of the little display thing, and you know, we'll glue it down kind of more flat. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and glue some of these pages so that they're open. So glue that there. Same with this. A couple pages of that here. And then as we get to the inner pages, you know, of course your books, when you lay them open, they rarely lay actually flat. So we're just going to kind of bend them this way a little bit. And then we're going to glue these. Get that a little more round. We're going to glue these like this. So we're going to put it at the end of this stuff here and sort of glue it there. So we'll get the rest of these guys down flat. And we'll start with these ones here. So once we glue this like this, okay, hopefully you can see it. See how it's kind of just bending just a little bit. And then we'll glue its little friends down to it, sort of in the same area, just so it looks more, a little more natural. And same here. There we go. Now we've got our book that's going to be open. It's going to look a little more naturally open. Of course, it's got, you know, huge fingerprints where some giant and grabbed it and smashed all the pages down like an idiot. But it still looks kind of cool. So we'll let this dry a little bit, and then I'm going to hit this with some Distress ink. So we'll have that one open, and maybe, you know, laying on another book to disguise how flat it doesn't want to be. Whatever. Okay, so let's do some books and we'll stack them. So With these, again, we want it kind of random-ish, so I'm going to put just a little bit of glue in the center, and I'm going to do these kind of off-center, sort of. Somebody made a bit of a messy stack of books. Let's see, let's do that with just these two here, because I realized as I put the glue on it that that one's a lot bigger than this one. It would look stupid, so let's try to get them in some semblance of size order. So I'm actually going to let these dry for a little bit. We'll keep these to the side in case we need extras. And you know what? I think we'll put these, we'll put these on the back. Okay, let's set those aside. We'll put those to the back. We'll have these in the front, and it can kind of be leaning up against these or one of these. Yeah, we'll have it leaning up against this one somehow. Okay, so I'm gonna let these dry. I'll come back to you guys yet again, especially once I've worked out how the heck I want to balance that so it doesn't look ridiculous. So see you guys in a few minutes. All right, so I think these are stable enough that we can pick them up and move them around without them falling all over the place. I did do one more little stack and glue the pages together on the two bottom ones. And so now that this is dry enough, I'm going to go ahead and take the distress ink, and I'm just going to kind of distress the edges so it looks a little more worn, and it kind of hides, you know, any glue issues that I had. So there we are with that. Okay. So I did have a play around so that I wouldn't have to, you know, be plagued by as much indecision. There will still be some, never fear. But I kind of played around with the positioning of the books, and so I need to get this stuff out of the way. I'll do like I did last time. Where's my little clip? Give her a little ponytail here. Okay, those are up and out of our way. And so I will be, you know, turning it so that you guys can see it obviously while I do this. But so what we're going to do is we are going to do E6000 on this again because I like the way that it holds, and because it gives you, you know, you have time with it. Some of the other glues you don't have nearly as much time. So what we're going to do is we're going to place this stack is going to go back here. This one is going to go here. This one will go kind of off to the side, and then this book is going to sort of rest on that. Okay, so this part I will fast forward through because it's a lot easier than me editing out swearing, because I'm sure there will be some. There always is. I have my handy dandy tweezers here to kind of help move stuff around because it's kind of tight quarters in there. So, okay, that's what we're going to do, and I will try to make sure that it's visible to you guys as well while I do it. Those. That should be pretty good. And I put a lot of glue on the leather ones. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to touch where, so I want it to at least touch something and stick to something. So that'll take a little bit to dry. So we're also going to do the back here. Let me bring this so you can see it a little bit better here. And how's that? Maybe right there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack these here, and I have these smaller books, and we'll just kind of stack them to the side. And then of course once the glue's dried, I'll be able to maneuver this and show you guys a little bit better the different books and things and kind of how they ended up. And then that way once it dries again we can see if we want to add any more books, because I've got 3 different kits that I did for Etsy, so I got plenty of raw materials to make books. No problem. So we're just going to E6000 this. We're going to have it with the spines facing out, kind of over to the left, so that we can put the other books next to it. And so the one I'm going to have on the outside is this one, which I love. It's Madeline L'Engle's Wrinkle in Time, which is probably one of my favorite books from when I was much, much younger. So we'll have that on the outside of the stack. And I'm just using the E6000 on this because I'm being lazy. I don't want to grab the other glue. And then this blue one here. And then we will hit the bottoms of these with some of this. And the pages on the back, because we're going to kind of push them back towards the back with the rest of these books, so that they'll be in contact with the back also. Okay, so there we go with that. And then we're going to turn that around while that dries. And we're going to turn our attention to the last part that I wanted to do, I think, with it. So I had wanted to do like the key, and I was looking at different ways to have it kind of dangle from this thing in the front. And I thought, you know, how about I have it dangle from the inside? So there's a few ways you can do that. If you know you're going to, if you're the type of person that plans ahead, which is not me, you can add like a eye screw up underneath it so you've got something to hang it from. Of course, I didn't do that. So I'm going to use my other trusty method where I take the doll's arms and I use a jump ring. Kind of as, it looks sort of like a bracelet, but that's what I'm going to attach the chain to. So get some jump rings out here. And I have a length of chain. It's just a scrap basically that I have from jewelry stuff, but it's just about the perfect length to go up under here. So that's what we're going to use. Let's see, would it be easier to, yeah, there's no easy way to do it. Okay, so we're going to do, since this chain's rather thick, I think maybe we'll do a jump ring and then the jump ring that acts as a bracelet, and then this jump ring can kind of slip into that one. So when you're opening jump rings, and I'll try to hold it close so you can see. Let me see if I can get a piece of white paper here. So you got some contrast to look against. Okay. So what you want to do is, you know, the jump rings have a break in them there. You want to use 2 sets of pliers. You never want to open jump rings like this. You always want to open them in a twisting motion, right? Like this. Okay, can you see that? And then you take your chain, you just pop it on there, and then you pull it back this way. This way you're never making it not a circle, you're just making the circle's ends go in a different place. Usually I will also take it and wiggle it back and forth a little bit, because just like with the wire for the wings, that's going to work harden it. It'll work harden it down here where you're moving it, and it'll keep it from coming open as easily. But these are, I think these are aluminum jump rings, so I mean, you'll be there all day doing that. And so we're going to put a jump ring on the other end here. So same thing. If you don't have any jump rings but you do have wire, of course you can always make them. You just wrap them around something round, and then you cut them in the center, and they will be little rings. You just kind of, you'll have to do this twisting thing with them a little bit, but all right, so there is that. These are both ends, so these are going to attach to the ones that we put on the doll's arms. And then of course we want our key to hang down in the middle, so probably the easiest way is to figure out how many links you have and divide by 2. Okay, so we're going to put it right about here on that one. But I'm going to try to use one of the copper ones just because it'll look a little bit better. You know, we can pretend the black part is like her jewelry or something. I don't know. Maybe she's very goth. She looks very goth with the wings. Okay, same thing with this. I'm just going to grab it, and I like to use the flat pliers. They hold a little bit better. Okay, so we know we want that for our center, so we're going to take this link and work it onto here. And this is where you can tell whether or not you opened your jump ring up enough, which I clearly didn't. So let's open that up a little bit wider, because if I can't get that on there, I'm not going to get the key on there. Okay. right about here with it. There we go. So we've got that on there, and then we're going to take our key, pop our key on here, and then close our jumping back up. Now this is copper, so this one, if I do wiggle back and forth, it's going to work hard on it just fine. All right, so now we basically have a very weird charm necklace thing. So we're going to set this to the side, and we're going to get our doll very carefully because we don't want to knock that stuff. And we're going to see if we can open this jump ring wide enough to get it around her wrists. I can never remember which ones I use for that, so hopefully I won't have to wander off. So I've got that open nice and wide. I'm just going to put her arm through it like this until I can get those ends to clear the wood. I'm probably going to have to fiddle with those. They may not meet perfectly. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. See, I've got it where both ends are up and over this. And so I'm just going to close this on here. Okay, so now she's wearing a very stylish bracelet on this arm. We're going to do the same on this one. And these, just for reference, in case you get one of these kits and want to do this, this is a 7mm jump ring. They're nice and large. Okay, so I got that open nice and wide again. Gonna bring it up and around, and then we're going to bring this so you can actually see it. And grab that side and make sure both ends of it are gonna clear that wood piece. And this one, and we're just gonna kind of bring them back around to the center. And this one, it got a little skewed just because of what you're going over, so kind of push it in a little bit. All right. That meets up a little bit better because, of course, if you've got a gap there, you've also got a gap for your other stuff to go through. Okay, so now she's looking very stylish. So we're going to attach one of these to this side. So we're going to reopen our jump ring. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to thread it through here, just wherever I've got a gap big enough for it to go. And that will be very frustrating. Whoa. Okay. We'll put this on fast forward while I struggle. How's that? Barely got that on there. I'm grabbing that side there. And I gotta turn it this way now because I can't see. There we go. Okay, we're gonna close that. And once we've closed it, we can wiggle a little bit and make sure that it's nice and steady on there. And then kind of turn stuff around so it's more towards the inside of her hand, or not, you know, whichever. Okay, and so now we're going to take the key and the chain and we're going to thread it through this part here, so it's going to hang down in the middle. And now we're going to do this side. Now this side I will put on fast forward because I promise I'm going to struggle with, and I will probably say all sorts of horrible, terrible things that should not be aired on YouTube and call this every name in the book, but we'll see. So wish me luck, guys. Okay, success for a minute. When it comes to jump rings and jewelry, never, ever, ever get too excited because chances are something will slip and you'll drop the damn thing. Done that. Okay, so there we go. Got it closed, and now we have our key dangling down from the center here. We'll hold it so you can see it. There we go. So we got the key and it's dangling down from the center, and we just dropped our books off because we're a dumbass. Okay, let's put those back on there, shall we? Aye, aye, aye. There we go. Okay, so we are going to let everything dry, but this is probably going to be it, I think. And the key kind of works because, you know, if you think about it, books are the key to a lot of things. But then again, I'm a massive book nerd who used to work for Borders, so I may be slightly biased in that opinion. But all right, I think it may be done. That little gap in the back's kind of bugging me, but we're going to let this stuff dry so that it's safe to handle it, and then we'll come back and see if we need to add anything else. But I don't think we do. So, okay, see you guys in a few. So, as you can probably tell from the lack of stuff to stick to other stuff on the desk, I think we're done. Or at least this is where I'm going to stop, because I do have a tendency to go overboard on things. So, this is where we are with this. Kind of move the little skirt bits out here. Turn it so you can get the full view. And so the key, of course, is going to be dangling, but gravity. And so I've moved the arms to up here, which also helps put a little bit of tension on this and lifts this up a little bit so it's a little more centered. Our books are in here nicely. And on the back, same thing. We have our books and we have our little stuff here. And I don't know why I'm getting such a massive shadow, but yeah, sorry about that. And we have our little skirt. And so I think this looks really cool. And, you know, this is another example of when you start these things, you don't have to have a plan. You don't have to have some grand scheme to know every single thing that's going to go with everything else. Just start and see where it takes you. You know, it wasn't going to be a book theme until I saw that one piece of scrapbook paper. So you never know. But just play around, have fun. Again, it's retrocafeartgallery.com. I'm not sponsored by her, obviously, but wouldn't that be nice? I already own most of her stock anyway, so it'd be kind of silly and redundant. But there's some really good kits on there, and there's some really fun things to play with. And there's all kinds of digital collage kits and paints, and just everything you can think of is on there. Lots and lots of fun things. So go check that one out. Of course, there's a link in the description box below for that. But so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I really, really hope that you decide to do one of these for yourself. They look intimidating when you see them on the cover of, you know, one of the Stampington type magazines. Who is that? Oh, Somerset Studio. A lot of the people who are featured in Somerset Studio actually use these kits. It's where these kits come from. It's hers. That's where I found them. Was reading where they got their kit from, and so I found her and got all these different things. So, anyways. You can do a lot more than you think with it. And then if you don't have a piece that you need, like with the wings, just wing it. Oh, that was horrible. Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and apologize for that one. But anyway, so hope you guys had fun. And God only knows what I'm going to do next. I think it's gonna be miniatures, of course, because my journal stuff will be here and there as well. But I do want to do the swords with the little display stands, and then I'm going to do the miniature bottles to show you how to do those. And I think we will do those, and I'll do like a bonus, if I can do it in under 53 years, how to do an Altoid tin. So we'll make a little like cabinet out of either an Altoid tin or it's like a sardine tin or whatever. So that should be a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for sticking with it if you did. And I will see you in the next video. Okay, Mirieschiff. See you guys later. Bye.